You know how some women seem to have it all together? They're getting amazing grades, they're working full time, they're maintaining these incredible, delicious, sexy, loving relationships. They are dressed to the nines every day with their full face of makeup and they're just living their best lives. What if that could be you this semester? If you want to be one of those girls that you sort of kind of are jealous of, you're going to need to adopt their habits. And on tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the 10 habits that highly successful college women have in their lives and how you can start incorporating it for your spring semester. Buenas noches, mi gente. Guys, if you didn't know, Spanish was my first language. I am really excited for tonight's show because this is my first 10 things episode. And I'm also thriving off the energy of the Your Best Semester Yet challenge that started this week. If you're not in the challenge, you're missing out on something amazing. It's not too late to join. We're only on day 3 and you can always do the exercises at any point during the semester. But this honestly has been one of the most transformational things that a lot of these women have gone through, and it has been a pleasure for me to watch them go through it, watch them light up, watch them step into the most brilliant, authentic, incredible versions of themselves, and it's a pleasure for me to be able to facilitate it. And we've been sort of having this whole theme starting in December around how to step into this spring semester with a setup plan, being fully present, knowing that you're absolutely going to kill it. And this episode is not going to be any different. I'm going to share with you 10 habits of highly successful college women. And I have to tell you that these are not your typical habits that you will see on YouTube. These are habits that are going to really dig deep. I'm going to share some real truths because that is what we do here on She Rocks at College Live. By the way, I'm Clarissa. I'm your host, and I created this show to bring together college women, specifically non-traditional college women, to help them step into their brilliance in the semester through their college experience, to help them build a community with other college women who are struggling with certain things, who want to learn how to have a better academic experience overall. We're here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's go ahead and dive into habit number 1. So the first habit of highly successful college women is that they have a compelling reason. So what does it mean for something to be compelling? For something to be compelling, it means that it evokes attention in an irresistible way. Like you cannot try to go after it. You cannot avoid it. You cannot do it. College women who are successful understand the role that their education plays in the bigger picture it is that they have for their lives. And it is so enticing for them that nothing stands in their way. They push through hard times. They are resilient, meaning that they have the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And the reason why they have this capacity is because they have that compelling reason. So yes, they have goals. Yes, they have certain things that they want to achieve throughout the semester. But what's really pulling them and stopping them from procrastinating, pulling them in direction of their goals, is that compelling reason. And when I talk about having a compelling reason, it doesn't need to be anything that is life-changing. It can be as simple as you want to be the first person in your family to graduate college. You want to be able to prove to yourself that you can do it. One of the issues that I see a lot of people making, and I think this is an area for resistance, is that when someone asks you why you want to do what it is that you want to do, A, you either don't know why, you've never thought about it, or B, you think that the reason that you give somebody needs to be like saving baby whales or something like that, or feeding the hungry, or doing something, you know, that's out of this world amazing. But really, your compelling reason only needs to be compelling for you. It only needs to be irresistible to you, not anybody else. So it doesn't matter how small you think your reason is. If it is compelling enough, if it is worthy enough, if it is attractive enough to you for you to actually do what it takes to achieve it, then go with it. But you need to understand why you're doing something. Motivation is movement towards a purpose. If you lack motivation, what you're lacking is purpose. What you're lacking is a reason why. So that is what you need to do. You need to understand and connect the college education that you're getting now to what it is that you want to achieve in your life. Even if all you want to achieve is getting a decent job, you need to connect your current education, your current experience to that. Because what a compelling reason does is that it keeps you moving. It keeps you overcoming things. It makes you resilient because you're willing to go through whatever it is to achieve that thing that you want to achieve, because your reason why pulls you. It is so irresistible for you that it doesn't matter what you go through, you're going to achieve it. So that is habit number 1. Every time they set a goal, they have a compelling reason why. So some of the questions that you can ask yourself to start to develop this compelling reason why, and the reason why I keep looking over to the side is because I have my notes here. Number 1 is, what is it that you want to create in your life? What is it that you want to create in your life? Answering this question will start to give you clarity around goal setting. What do you want to create in this season of your life? What do you want to create this semester? What do you want to create this year? What do you want to create this week? What do you want to create this month? Pick whichever one of those questions resonates with you, but you need to know what you want. And I am urging you, asking you not to dwell in confusion. Just pick something. If you're meant to change the goals that you set, they will naturally change. You will naturally know, and it's okay to change your mind. But you need to pick something and then give yourself a compelling reason. And the way that you give yourself a compelling reason is you ask yourself, why do I want it? And then when you get the answer to that question, ask yourself, well, why do I want that? And I'll give you an example. Let's say your goal this semester is to achieve a 4.0 for this semester and land on the dean's list. Why do you want that? Well, I want to make the dean's list because I want to make myself proud. Well, why do you want to make yourself proud? Because I haven't had a 4.0 in the past. Okay, well, why is it important that you get a 4.0? Well, no one in my family has done it. Well, why is it important that you're the first one to get it? Because it's going to change my family's future. Okay, why is it important for you to change your family's future? Well, because I want my kids to have a different life than me. I want to break the curse of generational poverty. And if that is a decent enough reason for you, if that's actually going to get you to move, the fact that you want to change the pattern of generational poverty in your life, that is your compelling reason. And you need to remind yourself of that every single freaking day. Another question that you can ask yourself to help you come up with a compelling reason is to ask yourself why you don't already have what it is that you want to create. Why don't you already have the 4.0 GPA? Why don't you already have the A's? Why don't you already have that relationship that you thought you were going to get in college? Why don't you already have X, Y, and Z? The answer to that question is going to identify to you any of the obstacles that are going to get in your way. And your reason for wanting to achieve your goal needs to be so strong that you will overcome those obstacles. So that is just another way for you to really make sure that that reason that you come up with is truly compelling. Is this compelling enough that even if this happens to me, even if I experience this obstacle, I'm going to figure out a way around it or through it. So that's habit number 1. Habit number 2 is that successful college women are future focused. Many of us take action based off of our past. So we might have never been able to get anything higher than a C in our classes. We might have never, been accepted into a program before. And so when we create goals or when we create a plan from never having achieved what it is that we want. And so we hold ourselves back. We make decisions from this place of who we were in the past. But here is the thing. The future that you want to create for yourself, the version of yourself that you see yourself being, you've never been before, which means that you need to do things that you've never done before if you want to become that woman. And so students who are highly successful in college make decisions from their future. They make decisions from the person that they see themselves becoming. Because in order for them to be that person that they've never been before, they need to do things that they've never done before, which means they need to think things they've never thought before, which means they need to make decisions that they've never made before, so that their outcome, the fruits that they see in their life, the things that transpire throughout the semester are different than your past, so that you do not repeat your past. So college women that are successful, they have a very clear picture of the person, the student that they want to be. And every single time they need to make a decision on whether or not to study, they embody that person and they ask themselves, would she watch Netflix instead? What would she do in this situation? Because again, if you want something different, you have to do something different. And doing is taking action. And we take actions based off how we feel as humans. And we feel things based off of what we think, which means that you need to think differently. You need to think like you've never thought before and make decisions like you've never made decisions before in order to really see success this next semester. Habit number 3 is that they are resourceful AF. And for anybody who doesn't know what that AF means, it means as fuck. I just said the F word. So they are resourceful AF. They refuse to dwell in confusion. They don't worry when they set goals. They don't worry about how they're going to do it. They don't hold themselves back or create these limitations on themselves. Their motto is, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to commit to this. So they make a decision that this is what I want and it is going to happen. I have no idea how I'm going to get there yet. I don't know what steps I need to take yet, but I'm going to figure it the hell out. They are on team. I will do what I need to do. I will take massive action, which is habit number 4. College women who are highly successful do not dwell in confusion. They just make the decision and they figure it out on the way. They make mistakes. They change things up, but they refuse to hold themselves back and they take massive action. What does it mean to take massive action? Well, I talked all about this in last week's episode. Massive action is when you commit to taking action until you get the result it is that you want. It means that no matter what happens, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how many times things aren't working out, no matter how many times you fall flat on your freaking face, make bad decisions, you keep going. You try something else, but you do not give up on yourself no matter what. You keep moving in the direction that you think is best towards the goal it is that you want. Intellectual action, I talked about this in last week's episode, is when you just think about making changes, you read all the books, you watch all the videos, you listen to all the podcasts, all the audiobooks, but you never take any physical action. The only way physical things are going to manifest in your life is if you take physical action. And you keep taking physical action until you get the result that you want. The only time you lose, friends, is when you don't take action. It's when you quit. The only time you will lose is when you quit. If you want a surefire way to never achieve anything it is that you want in your life, quit. Just quit on yourself. That is like a surefire way. But if you want success this semester in all avenues, not just grades, right? Because I don't preach. I actually believe that C's get degrees, and if a C feels like an A to you, go. Get your C's. I don't think that everybody needs an A to see success in their lives. If a C does it for you, great, go after it. But I just want you to keep going until you get what it is that you want. The moment that you quit, you deny yourself the satisfaction of achieving that goal. And I don't want that for you, and you don't want that for you, because otherwise, what is the point? You might as well just drop out now, right? Okay, so the fifth habit that highly successful college women have is that they set really clear priorities for all of the different seasons of their life, right? So a priority is something regarded as more important than another. So highly successful college women understand where they want to spend their time. They understand what is important to them in different seasons. Notice that I'm saying different seasons. The reason why this is important is because your priorities will change. They will change with your evolution. They will change when you graduate college. They will change when you're in, a summer term. They will change when you're on break. So all I want you to do is to know what your priorities are. If you have multiples, you need to order them in order of most important to least important. And once you know what your priorities are, you need to filter all of your decisions against those priorities. If that thing that you want to spend time on, that you want to go do, that you want to invest your money in, that you want to spend some time in, does not match up with your priorities, you don't do it right now. It doesn't mean that you never do it. It just means that right now, in this season of your life, that is not a priority. And if you are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on your college education, and your college education isn't one of the first two freaking priorities, you need to switch it right now. You need to prioritize school when you're in school season. It doesn't mean forever. It just means when you're in the semester, school needs to be a higher priority under your family, or some people it's higher than that. It's fine. Your priorities are your priorities. So what do you consider the most important? But if your school isn't one of your priorities, why are you even wasting your money on it? Right? And when I say priorities, I don't mean that when something is a priority, it needs to get all of your time. Right? Just because school is number one doesn't mean that you spend 80% of your time on school-related things. It just means that you intentionally create time for it. So if you feel like you don't have time for school, if you feel like you don't have time for your family, if you feel like you don't have time for your husband, your boyfriend, your kids, your girlfriend, if you feel like you don't have time for your hobbies, if you used to like to dance and you're not dancing anymore, and you're not creating time for it, you're not spending any time on it, it's because you haven't clearly defined that it is a priority and you haven't intentionally scheduled the time for it. If you track your time for a week, if you track your time even for a day, I can tell you where your priorities lie. For many of you, your priorities are social media. Your priorities are Netflix. Your priorities are napping. Your priorities are all out of freaking whack, and then you're wondering, why don't I have the grades it is that I want? Why am I not experiencing college in this magnificent way like everyone said it was going to be the best years of my life? Why am I not creating in my life what it is that I want? The reason is because your priorities are freaking out of whack. So you, at the very beginning of the semester, need to get really clear on what your priorities are going to be. Habit number 6 is that highly successful college women set clear boundaries. Here's something that I want you to really hear me on tonight. People are allowed to behave however the hell they want. People are allowed to behave however the hell they want. It doesn't mean that there will not be consequences. It does not mean that they will not get thrown in jail. It does not mean that something bad won't happen if they punch you in the face. But what I'm saying is that people are allowed to behave however the hell they want. Setting a boundary means that you limit what you define as acceptable behavior. Everyone else is allowed to behave however they want, but you get to decide whether how they behave is acceptable to you. And the only thing that you have control over is how you are going to handle when they do those things to you, when they behave the way that they behave towards you. A boundary is a limit. It teaches people how to treat you. If you do not set clear boundaries around your education, around your life, around how you want to be treated, people are going to do whatever they want because they are allowed to. What you need to do is you need to communicate with people what you will do if they behave that way. So for example, I have a very clear boundary with my friends. I don't like it when people are late. It makes me angry. It makes me feel like you're not valuing my time. And so especially in my business, She Rocks at College, I have a very clear boundary. I have clear indications of what is acceptable behavior to me. If you do not show up on time, I will only wait for you 5 minutes. So if you show up 5 minutes late, I will not be on the phone call. That's what I'm going to do if you behave that way. After the 5 minutes, I hop off. And if it's a free call, you don't get to reschedule. That is a limit that I've created. With my friends, it's the same way. If they are late, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to wait for them. They are allowed to behave however they want. They can show up late if they want, but I'm not going to wait for them. That is me setting a clear boundary. Another boundary that people set, most people have, is around their relationship with their partner. Like, for example, if Elvis were to ever punch me or abuse me in any way whatsoever, which he never would, he's a really sweet man, but let's say he does. If he behaves that way, I'm gonna call the cops. That's what I'm gonna do because I only have control over myself. He gets to behave and do whatever he wants, but I set a clear boundary with him. Like, this is what is acceptable behavior for me. If you do this, here is what I'm going to do. And you let people know that. And the reason why I'm talking about boundaries is because I find that a lot of college students struggle with boundaries around their study time and dealing with family. Family gets to behave however they want. People around you get to behave however they want. What you need to do is make it clear what is acceptable behavior for you. Listen, during the semester, if you call me 5,000 times and interrupt my studying, I'm not going to pick up my phone, right? If I'm studying, I'm not going to pick up my phone. You can call me 12,000 times, right? Because that person gets to behave however they want, but I'm not going to pick up the phone. The more and more you set these boundaries, the more people will learn how to behave around you, how to treat you, and they won't do it anymore. My friends typically aren't late. If I have a student who's late for a call and I'm not there, the next time around, they don't show up late. Boundaries teach people how you want to be treated. And highly successful college students have clear boundaries. Habit number 7 is that they are what Brooke Castillo calls emotional adults. So there is emotional adulthood and there is emotional childhood. Emotional childhood is when you blame other people for the results it is that you have in your life. You blame other people for how you feel. You blame other people for how well you're doing, how poor you're doing. You basically remove all the power from yourself and you give it to other people. Highly successful college students are what Brooke Castillo calls emotional adults. So they take full responsibility for how they feel, the results that they have, and even the failures that they are experiencing. They are in charge of what they think. They understand that other people don't make them feel bad. Other people don't make them feel ashamed. Other people don't make them feel stupid, insecure, or whatever. In high school, in my high school yearbook, I actually had a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that I don't know, for some reason I love this quote, and I got it to an extent, but it wasn't until much later, until I was going through my whole failing out of the bio major and redeeming myself and getting into nursing school and graduating nursing school with honors, that I really understood what the quote meant, especially in my work with law of attraction and positive psychology and that kind of stuff. And the quote was, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. And that was by Eleanor Roosevelt. Nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. And there is so much truth in that. No one can make you feel stupid. No one can make you feel sad. No one can make you feel mad. Nobody can make you feel ashamed unless you give them permission by the thoughts that you think, unless you choose to believe that you are inferior, unless you choose to believe that you are stupid, unless you choose to believe that you're not cut out for math. Nobody can hurt you. You hurt yourself by the thoughts that you think. You hurt your own feelings. College students who are highly successful understand this, and so they do a really good job of managing their own mind and taking back their power. They take control of their own education, of their own results, of their own emotions, right? So that is another habit that highly successful college women have. The 8th habit is that they manage their mind and their energy. So what I mean by managing their energy is that they understand that they are human, that they need to sleep, that they need to eat healthy, that they need to exercise. They also understand that as humans, we are different than animals in the sense that we experience a lot of emotions and we can think about our thinking and we can hurt our own feelings, like I was just talking about. And so highly successful college women spend a lot of time working on their mental thoughts, working on their mindset, and they also spend a lot of time making sure that physically they have the energy it is that they need to do the work that is required as a college student. So they invest time and money into counseling. They invest time and money into books and resources that really help them to manage their mind. They spend time and money on exercise and they make sure that they get a good night's sleep. They make sure that they're eating healthy food. They make sure that they're fueling their body so that they can show up fully, right? Because when you can show up fully, you do better, right? When you sleep and you're actually rested, you retain information, you understand things better. You're not as stressed. You're not as high strung when you're taking care of yourself physically. When you're taking care of yourself emotionally, you can handle more. You can think through things. You're not as reactive to things, right? You can process things easier. You can come up with solutions easier because you are level, right? You're centered. You understand what's going on and you're dealing with it and you're not just reacting to things all the time. The 9th habit that successful college women have is that they build in constraints. So they are in the habit of making decisions ahead of time. So they know, when they're going to do certain things. They have set times and dates when they work out. They have set times and dates when they study. They have set times and dates when they have free time. They follow through on those set times and dates because building in this constraint, right, allows them to free up their mind to think creatively. One of the reasons why we feel so tired on a daily basis is because we have decision fatigue. We're making decisions constantly on a daily basis. But when you create these constraints, right? Constraints are just decisions that you make ahead of time. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., I'm going to sit down and turn my objectives in my textbook into questions. And then I'm going to read the chapter to find the answers to those questions at 10 a.m. You make that decision ahead of time so that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., you just sit down and you do it. And you create it as a habit, as a routine, so that your brain becomes really efficient. You're in the groove of it, and you can use the rest of your mental energy to focus in on things that are outside of school, or to take the work that you're doing in school and apply it to your life, or apply it to the bigger picture, or give your energy to other things. But they build in these constraints, which are just decisions that they make ahead of time of how they're going to behave, that allows them to have more freedom, because plans give us freedom. They do not, even though it's called building constraint, they do not limit you. They actually create freedom for you, because you have so much mental energy that you have access to now that you're not trying to make decisions on a consistent basis, to do other things and become better. And then the last habit that highly successful college women have is that they track their progress. They are always reflecting back on how their exam went. They are always looking at, what did I do to prepare for this? They're always looking at what they're doing, what's working, what's not working. They're keeping track of the improvements that they're making. And what this does, it allows for them to achieve more, because they can make the necessary tweaks when they need to tweak them if things aren't working. They can also look at things more objectively. They're not, turning things in so personally. They're not making it about themselves. They're really just making it about the actions and the process that they're taking, which allows you to be able to, again, make the necessary changes that you need to make in order to see improvements, which then builds confidence. It builds capability, and it builds resilience when you're looking back, what worked, what didn't work, what can I change here, what can I do differently, what can I do better, and that is just going to help you to become a better person overall. So recapping the 10 habits, number 1 is they always have a compelling reason why they're doing what they're doing. They're future focused, right? They make decisions based off of the person that they want to be, not the person who they used to be. They are resourceful AF. They take massive action. They set really clear priorities. They have strict boundaries. They are emotional adults. They manage their energy and building constraints. They make decisions ahead of time, and they track their progress. Those are the 10 habits that if you were to just even adopt one of them this next semester, you will see a dramatic change in your academic experience. So with that being said, I don't want to forget to invite you to a workshop that I'm doing this Saturday. The workshop is called How to Create a Study Routine You'll Actually Stick to Even If You're a Chronic Procrastinator. And if you want to sign up for that workshop, you can go to bit.ly/study routine workshop. It's all lowercase letters, and it'll be in the comments of this video. I'll also have Hannah, who's been interacting with you girls in the chat, put that in there, and I'm going to take this opportunity to answer some questions and see what's been going on since I have been giving you this content. All right, so Linda has a question, and she says, what habits to incorporate for nursing math? So what habits should you incorporate for nursing math? So I would say any of the 10 habits that I talked about here are going to help you tremendously. Most of the time, the reason why you're struggling isn't because you don't know how to study. It's because you can't get yourself to do what you know that you need to be doing. And one of the things that can help you with that is managing your mindset and making decisions ahead of time. So that is the habit that I would give to you, because any of these habits can help you regardless of the class that you're taking. see. So Claudia asks, is there a cram sheet or printable for this list? There isn't a cram sheet or a printable, but what I will do is put this in the show notes over at sherocksatcollege.com. Just scrolling through the comments, guys. Sorry for this awkward silence. All right, so Peaceful Deja, I know who this is, says, that's why I decided to make myself in school the most important and not care what my family says or does anymore, because some of my family members seem to not care or understand how school is important to you, right? And they never will. So this is one of the things that you really have to keep in mind, is that nobody is going to want anything more than you want it for yourself. And you cannot expect them to, because they have their own goals, their own dreams, their own aspirations, their own lives. You have to know that and decide whether or not that person is worthy of you sharing what it is that you want to do with them, worthy of your time in this season of your life. Understand that it is okay for people not to support you. Nobody has to. People get to behave and think and believe whatever the hell they want. So do you. You going after your college education doesn't impact them in any way. Nobody is going to want it more than you do. So you need to go after whatever it is that you want with that mindset. No one's going to want it as bad as I want it. So I need to go for it and root for myself and hope. And I'm not going to say hope, because hope is not a plan. I always say that. But you need to go for it like it's nobody's business, because it ain't. It isn't, right? It's yours. You want it. You're the one that needs to like be for yourself. No one else is going to support you as much as you support you. All right, so let's see what else everyone else has to say. So Liz says that she needs to set some boundaries. Yes, it's something that comes up all the time in my email inbox and in comments on YouTube. So it's something that I really wanted to address. And I think that was it. I think that was... that was it. Oh, Claudia says that she wrote about this in one of her letters in the Your Best Semester Yet challenge, which is still going on if you want to join. All right, friends, so it looks like that's it. I am going to take this next hour to prep for the Q&A that we're doing tonight inside of the Secret Study Society, where the Your Best Semester Yet challenge is going down. Thank you so much for watching tonight's show. Remember that we're here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends about it. Subscribe to the channel. Bye.
You know how figuring out how to study can be totally overwhelming? You're probably trying to learn study strategies from YouTube, podcasts, Pinterest, and other blogs that are all great, but sometimes give you contradictory and confusing advice. I get it. It's hard to filter through which study strategies you should be implementing right now to get better grades versus the ones that you shouldn't bother wasting your time on because they're not as effective. The advice you're reading and hearing about might be amazing, but how and where do you start? That's exactly why we created Study School, to help you to create your own signature study plan that helps you make the Dean's List every semester, earn and keep your scholarships, or graduate summa cum laude if that's what you want, all without sacrificing your entire life. Inside Study School, not only will you receive a step-by-step action guide that walks you through the key elements of a semester success plan, such as syllabus week, lecture, readings, note-taking, study routines, post-exam reviews, study groups, paper writing, and so much more. But you'll also receive tailored one-on-one attention and feedback to help you overcome any challenges you personally encounter while you pursue your degree as a busy college woman. There are video tutorials walking you through how to take notes, write papers, and physically study. action items so you stay on track, templates to help you get started when you're feeling stuck, and even study hall hours you can pop into to ask questions, get answers on the spot, and have someone give you that extra dose of motivation to keep you moving forward. So if you're ready to step into your brilliance this semester, get started at sherocksatcollege.com/study-school.